between goodbyes and new beginnings. That's where I am right now. That's where I am in my life. And this is why I'm going to start a new chapter. And I've decided to bring you along. Before we get started on our very first episode of this podcast, I have invited unofficially Tammy Locke to put into words and to put us in the mood of understanding that tension of changing roles as a mother. I hope you stay and listen to the whole thing. An official welcome greets you on the other side.
A child leaving home, especially for a mother, is a life change on par with becoming a mother. It is more than simply a new shift in identity. Just as after birth, a mother has to mourn her old life in order to welcome the new one, a new kind of postpartum period happens, and it takes time to integrate a change of this scale.
Hey, this is Dannyette Rouse, and I am your host of a little baby I am birthing called A Little Bit of This and a Little Bit of That. Conversations and musings of a rambling mind, because I've got a rambling mind. I am a wife, a mother, and a woman who is on a journey, and I've gathered a whole bunch of information. I absorb information, and so therefore there's a little bit of everything happening. So this is me starting something new. And I want to talk about something that is literally happening to me right now, but also happening to a ton of you. It's called renesting. Renesting. What is that? I've heard of empty nesting, but what's renesting? I, like a lot of you, doom scroll, and I try to create an algorithm that doesn't stress me out because life is stressful. And I ran across an author. Her name is Tammy Block. If you've ever watched the movie From Scratch, be careful because it'll make you cry. But she and her sister have a way with words. They're both phenomenal writers. And she calls this term renesting. So what is renesting? And renesting was her way to describe what happens after your children leave the nest. Historically, it's been called empty nesting. That doesn't sit well with me for lots of reasons, right? One of which, it doesn't feel so final. It has negative connotations. For me, it feels a little sad. And so when I read it, I said, okay, but see, I can get with the renesting, because renesting says it's an adjustment. It's not just about, you've got this empty house and it echoes and you have nothing to do and what are we going to say? It's not that. And I'm not doing that. And renesting gave me language. In fact, she is getting ready to release a book. This is not an ad. This is nothing, but it talks about her journey, releasing her daughter and her daughter going away to college. And so there's a lot of clips out there right now. And I've got one that she did, and I'll just drop it in for you in a minute, because she gives, I'd rather you have her words to explain what renesting is, rather than me sit here and tell you this is what she said it was. So just really quickly, let's listen to what she has to say, and then we'll circle on back.
A lot going on at the same time. And you don't like calling it empty nest.
I don't like calling it empty nest. One, because just the word empty is defining something from a void, from a sense of what is absent. And there was nothing about my life or our relationship as a family or our home that felt empty. And frankly, a lot of my friends in many American families can't relate to that because children are coming home.
So instead of empty nest, what do you want to call it?
I call it renesting.
Renesting, okay.
We are reimagining our lives as mothers, as parents. We are reconfiguring the family dynamic and family relationship. And it's a reimagining of a whole season of possibility that awaits both the child and the family.
Possibility interoperable.
Yeah, and I'll be crossing that bridge in a few years, so I love the way you reframe it.
So if you see there, what I love about it is that she gives language to this feeling so many are having. If you are like me, you might be sitting with Dorn moms, you might be sitting on Facebook pages of the places where your child is going to school. You're kind of hearing the same thing, and everybody is kind of trying to figure out, what do we do from here? Bottom line is, we are figuring out how to redefine our nest, right? So let me just tell you my story, kind of how we get here and what's important for me. Now, I'm a different kind of parent, and sometimes it makes my husband crazy. Sometimes it makes my friends crazy. I don't actually care. I'm just a different parent because I used to teach high school and college. I love those people. They are my people. I love them. It doesn't matter that they're 30 years younger than me now. Those are my people. I think they're special. I think they're unique. And there is nothing greater than watching kids become adults, sort of walking on these teeter-totter legs, right? So for me, I taught and I tried to raise my kids with an open door policy. Now, I know there's tug of war between gentle parenting and being your kids' friends, and I'm not here for that. That's a different podcast and a different story. We will eventually talk about it. But right now, I want to give a little background. And so part of my background is that I realized, maybe they were 6 or 7, that I was raising adults, right? When they got to a certain age, they weren't still going to be kids, right? That meant I have to lead them and teach them how to be independent. What does that mean? That means allowing them to fail. That means maybe sometimes taking the time to explain a situation. What it really meant was creating a safe space. Because for me, let me tell you something. I don't need Dumb and Dumber to inform my children. I need them to talk to me. If you grew up like I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and your parents, you know, the most thing they told you about sex was some book that you read together, and that's gross. Who wants to have that conversation with their parents? I couldn't do that. I need you to ask me those questions. And I'm going to be honest with you, which also means I had to get my whole life together. Which meant whatever scary thing, nervous thing, why are we having this conversation thing that I had, could not in any way show up on my face. I needed to create a safe space. So I did. And I was very intentional about it. It started, we drove a lot. It started in the car. But when they went to high school, they knew there was literally nothing. And quite honestly, my husband too, there's literally nothing you can't tell us. Now, give us grace. And I would say this in advance. Sometimes you might have to give us grace for us to work on our reactions. But at the end of it, we're going to walk through it. You can make a mistake. You can fail. There can be an issue. But the reality is, we're going to help you stand up, take accountability, and keep going. I'd rather you ask me about condoms than the dummy sitting next to you, because he just got it from Google or TikTok. And Lord, y'all, have you seen it? It's scary out there. No, come ask a stable adult. So my son, his friends, they knew they could come and talk to me. I have 2 kids, and my son is the oldest, and he knew he'd come talk to me. My daughter, same thing. And it's jokes over there on those streets, because she's a little bit more outgoing than her brother was. So she had lots of friends, and in general, her friends generally knew that if she knew something, I probably knew something. Now here's the thing. I knew things, and it wasn't about to gossip. I knew. She would ask me questions, and eventually she and her friends knew I was a safe space. I would laugh with them. I would kiki with them. I would also go, what you doing? And why are you doing that? Let's not do that. Let's make a better decision. And that's fine, right? But what it does is it allows kids to know, hey, somebody cares about me. Somebody listens to me, and I think I can do it, because that's what they need to know. Why does this matter? Because in this journey to renesting and launching your kids, you also eventually have to realize that I have to let go of the wheel, right? Let go. And letting go is scary if you haven't prepared them to toddle on their own. And I'm saying this to start before I tell you my launching stories, to say that no matter what my emotions are, I actually do have no fear that my kids don't feel comfortable picking up the phone and talking to me, that they know this will always be a safe space. This will always be your landing. So let's talk about flying the nest. So my son, he left first. He was a kid that was affected by COVID. In his classes, you know, his senior year was real short. Reality, he was probably blessed to have a senior year when the class before him didn't. The downside to that, though, is didn't really get a chance to say goodbye to high school. And I feel like that plays a role in his journey. Anyway, there was one school he wanted to go to. He had talked about it for years. He got blessed. He got in. And while I'm excited and we're getting ready to make the plans and he's set up, because we need to make sure he was set up and somebody could catch you. His godfather actually was there in the town where he was at. I was still freaking out on the inside. Who's gonna take care of my baby? What happens if he has a bad night? He's a big old kid, soft on the inside. That worries me. Just the thought of it literally took my breath away. So I do what I do, read, research, hear somebody else's stories, like, okay, can I find the thing that they use to hold on to? Like, can it be me? Can I make it, please? And you know what happened? I had a friend who had launched her 3 kids. And based on what she was posting, she seemed to be okay. So I slid in her DMs. I did. I said, how you doing this? Like, literally, how do you do it? When they go away and you come back home, girl, how do you do that? What exactly, how do you take the next breath? How do you not worry about his mental health, his emotional stability? Because I worry about that. I worried about how he was going to handle certain things. Let me be clear. I knew he could, but that didn't make it any less worrisome and bothersome. And I also was like, I can't track him. One, my parents didn't track me. They didn't have the option. And I believe college is a space where you have to learn. No shade to those who feel the need. But 2, I actually don't need to know where you are. Because if I know where you are, then I feel like I need to get in your business. And I don't need to be in your business. Because again, you're becoming an adult. Okay. So anyway, she says, damn, it's crazy. And the first one was a little bit hard. She said, but here was the thing that I realized. And she says, and this is what you have to do. She says, you got to reach down inside and realize you did a good job raising your kid. And you need to trust the job you did. Because what you did will kick in. It's going to be okay. And I had to sit with that for a minute because I said, is my doubt and my worry really affecting it? Do I doubt that I raised a good kid? Do I doubt that our sacrifices and the lessons we taught and the guidance we gave, do I feel like it didn't sink in? Do I doubt myself? Do I doubt the prayer and the blessing and all the things that were given to him? No, I can't. I have to have faith. It was so funny. She said, you have to have faith in the job you did. Because now's the time. And it helped a lot. And you know, it was tough. Dropped him off. Unpacked him. This is a boy. He let me make his bed and put up stuff on the wall. He didn't let me do anything else. I was like, can I at least make it look, you know, Ma, I got it. I'll do it. I got it. I'm not going to say that some of those bags I packed when I took him to his school came back the exact same way. But okay, we make choices. They're not my choices. They're his choices. When we left, it was mixed with tears and excitement. He was so excited to run away and leave us, and we drove home. And it was kind of weird. But what we also had when we dropped him off, so we had a daughter who started high school, and she was in week 2 of high school. And so life just moved, and I was still stressed out. He called me on his first day of classes because he knew his mama needed to see him. And as the year progressed, it was, I won't lie, a tumultuous year for him. And there are moments I wished he had a better ride. But I can't control his ride, right? And I couldn't make his choices. But he had good moments, you know, moments when he was literally FaceTiming us from a football field because they had all stormed the field because of amazing win they had. That boy loved, he got to experience that college football life. He loved it. But then there were downs. There were downs. There was his initial roommate trying to break into his side of the room. While he was in there, that really kind of unsettled him, and that stayed with him. And I think the final straw was when his room flooded because the sprinklers busted. That was fun times. So he did. There were ups and there were downs, and he decided to come home. And his choices become his choices. There were conversations, there were discussions, and it's crazy to think about now, but that was 4 years ago. And he's doing okay. That was our first version of renesting. Because here's the other thing that we have to recognize in renesting. And when you read the article, and I'll put the article with this link, is when you read the article by Temi, she also says, this is a different world and life is expensive. So your kids are going to come in and out of your house, but the rules and boundaries and the respect, those adjust. The nest is always going to be the nest, right? We aren't going to be the ones who take off and never come back. Those days are done almost on a price level, right? So without even knowing it, we renested. We refeathered the nest in new ways. And his year away was necessary for all of us to appreciate that he was becoming an adult, a young adult, and that was important. So now fast forward. Baby number 2, little girl leaves. And that one, and pardon me, I might spend a little bit more time here than I did with him because it's still new and it's still fresh. Not less, just new. Anyway, this time around it was different. I've done this before. I knew what to expect. We were good. And she's expensive. Don't be a busy girl. Don't have a busy girl. They're expensive. And she had a busy life. So we went everywhere. And we did the things. College tours, with us, without us. It was proms and galas and senior nights, all the things. And I'm good. Shocked that we're here, but good. Till right about March or April when it became kind of the 100-yard dash. And it was different. I knew, I was like, I'm good. She's gonna be fine. We're gonna do the move. We're sad. But I underestimated what it meant this time. Because there's no one behind her. No one. And while that's exciting, right? I don't have these things to do. In the exact same breath, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because your whole brain has been wired to take care of kids for over 20 years. And all of a sudden, it's a little different in your brain. It's not even, oh, we've got prom and it's her senior year and we're sad. It's, oh, we're never doing this again. And that is different. I remember sitting at a dance recital. Y'all, I've been sitting in a kid's recital since 2005. And I sat at this dance recital and almost boo-hooed. A single tear rolled down my cheek because I realized I would never go to another child's performance of someone I birthed. Now, am I gonna go support kids, nieces, nephews, whatever? Yes, because I'm that auntie. But I would never go to another one of mine. And I think that was my first moment of, oh, this is different. And this is a type of grief. That's where I am. So, you know, here we are, right? We are making this summer count. This girl has been busy. She has the summer of all summers. Every time I turn around, can you take me to this party? Can we go to this party? Can we do this? Can we do that? You know we got that to do. Can you take me over here? Mommy, I still gotta go to work. Mommy, I still gotta do this. And she's living all the things. Now, in the midst, we would have these day dates. We'd go shopping. We'd go out to breakfast. Listen, baby came up good and she worked. And so she wanted to live in her spoils. So I just, you know, as the driver, got benefits. And it was fun though, because it was solidifying here we are in this space. And I'm grieving and happy. And I'm driving down the street randomly, tears rolling down my face. No lie, I sat in the store. It's crazy. You can read more about it in detail in the Substack. By the way, I'm also launching a Substack so you can read some of these articles. So we'll talk about them. We'll read them. You can consume this information whatever way you want to. Remember, mommy's stretching. Dan is stretching. New things, new opportunities. Sorry, I ramble. This will totally be on brand. Anyway, in a store, buying something directly in front of me. This little girl, she's got a little wallet out. She wants to buy this thing because her mom said, I'm gonna buy that. She said, I got it, Mom, no problem. Opened up a little wallet, was paying, pulling out the money, and mommy's over there going, okay, you know, kind of helping her out and watching. Girl's gotta be 7 or 8 years old. And I'm literally standing behind them, choked up. Because all of a sudden, I saw me and my baby doing the exact same thing maybe 10 years ago, maybe yesterday. And I just looked at the mom and I said, you know what, I'm sorry. I just have to say, please hold on to these moments. I said, you know, people used to tell us this all the time. I said, now I've become that person. I said, but I'm sitting here watching you do this and I'm a little choked up because quite frankly, I'm sending mine to college in about 3 weeks. And this is kind of weird for me. And she looked at me and she said, to college? She's like, I'm not ready. And I said, and don't rush. I said, but you know what? This interaction was beautiful and it touched me. So this is me riding the ride of joy and pain. People would say, Dan, how you doing? I am right here. What are you doing? My emotions are just sitting at the top. They come in waves, and I can't do anything else about it. I can't. What are you going to do next? I don't know. I don't know. I am just here. One of the ways that I process is I need an action plan. I need a list. I need a problem to solve. I'm going to tackle this. So I did. This is what we did. Your child is literally moving, not like a brother, a few hundred miles away. No, thousands. There will be no driving. There will be a plane ride. So tackling the problem. What are we shipping? How are things getting ordered? What are we getting? Where are deliveries? The lists. Mama likes a list and a long list. And I would ask her, what do you want? I don't know. And so her way of tuning out was, I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time. But you need a pack. I got it. No, in fact, you got it. And so quite honestly, I did most of the packing. And I was stressed out because I was like, we gotta be ready. I can't forget something. And I was driving everybody crazy. I know it. This is just me going through the grief of what this means. I, to this moment, am still okay with her being gone. Because baby, when I tell you she good, she's in the space she's supposed to be in, good and bad days, she's good. And she's in the space she's supposed to be in. This is all mommy. My goddaughter has a saying, and she told it to her mother, and now it's my mantra. She told her mother that sounds like a you problem and not a me problem. So you go ahead and work that out, and I'll continue doing me. And while we were all like, damn, that was rough. But it was true. So these emotions of grief and all of this is mine, and they're not hers. And I tried sometimes, not always successfully, to not give that to her. And like I said, I'm human, but I also don't have a problem apologizing to my kid. So anyway, she's getting ready to go and we leave. And overall, everything goes smoothly. I could talk more about the different things and how they happened, but I will say this: 3 things about this piece stood out the most. I'll give 4 things. 4 things. 1, I got a text from a friend, literally a few days before we get ready to leave. And this friend is one of my girls. Said, hey, I'm gonna be there on moving day. And y'all, it was like something opened up inside of me. And all I did was cry. And I'm not talking like, oh, cry, pretty sad. Boo-hoo, shaking, can't breathe, cry. Okay? I'm scared. I'm laughing at myself, crying, because I needed to cry. I swear, it's such a crazy ride. It's terrible. It's overrated. But I was crying because I did not realize I needed someone. This has got nothing to do with my husband, got nothing to do with my child. But sometimes you need a person who knows you, who gets you. And she was like my big sister. And so there was relief. And don't get me wrong, like everybody was excited that she was coming, but it touched something in me and it broke something in me. And my thing is to you who's listening to me, get you a person who can be there in this tough moment, who can meet you at the end, who can pick you up from wherever, who can do the drive, who will hold your hand and let you cry that ugly cry, because they know the sacrifice. They know what you did. They know the nights you cried and your heart was broken and you were beating yourself up. They know. Because this last one that goes, or your only that goes, says that journey That part is done, for better or for worse. And that's a grief. That's a grief, because it's a change. And it's important to have that community. And we're going to talk about that community. We're going to talk about that community more later in a different episode, because I got plans, y'all. We're going to talk about some things. But let's go back. I told you about one. I've got 3 more that stood out. So Daddy is already at the place because he had work. And we're loading up the car to go to the airport. I'm doing the mama thing, checking to make sure we got everything before we walk out the house. And she doing the daughter thing, checking to see whatever. And I just looked at her and it hit me. She's never coming back to this house again in the same way. She'll forever be changed. Because that's what happens when you go away. That's what happens when you get your adult sea legs. Even if they're shaky, you come back different. You come back with a little something. And I realized she was never coming back that way again. So I'm staring at her. And then she stares at me. No words. And a tear starts to go down. And then she starts to cry too. And she's like, Mommy, you are making me cry. Don't do this. Don't do this. And so I walk out because I knew that she needed a minute to say goodbye to her home. Because while she's ready to fly, it was still scary. And I need to give her space. So that was one. The second is when we finally left her. And I did not cry. I did not cry when we left her. I hugged my baby and I let her go. And then I got in the rental car because we had 2 rentals, so I was by myself in the rental car. And I cried all the way to the airport. Because, oh my God, we're really here. We're not talking about it. We're not thinking about it someday. We're right here. And then the plane takes off. Honestly, y'all, I should have had a t-shirt that said, don't mind me, just drop my kid off. Ignore the tears. I'll be fine. That's what I should have had. Because I know I looked crazy. I know I looked crazy. And really, I don't even care. Okay? Didn't even care that I looked crazy. Because my heart was breaking. When those wheels left the tarmac, I literally said, oh my God, we really left her here. She's not coming back with us. She's not coming back. It's like my heart broke in 2. I had read something that said once, don't come back to an empty house and sit. Find something to do immediately. So I planned it, landed at night, got on a plane the very next morning, and went and saw my parents. It was their birthdays. It was their birthdays, and I bounced. And you know what? That helped. And then we had, unfortunately, a death in the family, so I had to go back. And then I just spent a little time, and to be honest, that helped. That helped because it gave me space. Before I wrap though, I wanna do a couple things. I need to acknowledge that I am talking about my journey as mom. And I am not going to diminish Dad's journey at all. But I can't speak for him. All I can say is he walked his own path and his own grief. And what we did was make space for each other and make space for the other's grief, however that looked. Even if we didn't understand it, and even if there was impatience sometimes, but daddy also grieved. In fact, dads grieve as well. And I feel like they should not necessarily hold it in. They should talk about it as well. But that's not my journey, right? But I appreciate it because what this also does, when we renest everything. And that is happening now. We're renesting everything, which also means discovery of who we are now and what it means to be a couple that are no longer in the day-to-day busyness of raising kids. And we haven't been here in a really long time. So that means a rediscovery. So at the end of all of this, and there is an end, where I think I am is not at a negative end. A chapter has closed. The page is closed. But I'm in the great in-between. The in-between where I'm learning patience and I'm leaning into being uncomfortable because I really don't know what's next. It's about letting me lean into what is soft and what is tender and discovering the woman I am now. You know, if you look at what Timmy said, and I was really double checking, and I thought I wrote it down, and I did it, and I am annoyed that I don't have it here. It's really more about saying we are in the space where we get to lean into our joy. And we get to lean into the joy of watching our kids become adults that stand on their own and have new adventures. And so, you know, if you're like me, who enjoys an occasional tee-hee-hee and tea, the thing that I told you about creating that open space and that safe space means that at the end, here's the thing. I am not a parent that worries about whether my kid is gonna call me. I'm just not that parent. You wanna know why? Because they're gonna call. He's gonna call when he wants to talk. And she's gonna call all day long for whatever reason. And then there's gonna be some days where she won't, but you know what? She knows she can talk to me anytime, and I'm not gonna worry about it. And I meet her, I talk to her, and I talk to her roommate, and I talk to her friends. And remember that thing about your mama's gonna know the tea? She actually told him straight up this time, listen, I talk to my mom all the time. She gonna know your business. Just know. She gonna love you, but she gonna know your business. And that's not a thing we need to worry about if we already did the groundwork, right? So even though I'm scared and I'm sad and I am a person who is feeling the emotions, a person who's not really all that comfortable with feeling the emotions, I'm just gonna be honest. I know at the end I'm good, right? I know at the end, this is not the end. This is the wild and beautiful middle, because we don't know what's coming next. And we're making space for the joy and the pain, grieving what's ending and getting excited about what's next. And the reality is this: we get to define our story, and we get to decide what it is. And I'm excited about that. I'm happy about that. And the other thing I love about renesting and this journey is this: We made the nest. We get to redefine it however often we want to. Now you be blessed. Enjoy your tea. Enjoy your coffee. And come back next time, because we're going to talk about some things. So click follow for YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click follow for Substack, where you're going to get more of my article. It's a bit more in depth. Or if you just like reading it because it's better that way, that's fine. And that way you can find out when we do our next version. But come with me on this journey, my big scary journey of all the things. A little bit of this and a little bit of that.